I woke up today and I chose violence, as you can see right here. Hello everyone, welcome back to Base Damage. Hope you're all doing well today. I have been wanting to upgrade the Drago Buster Millum deck. And I'm recording this right after I also saw the new JP ban list updates. And it got me to thinking, what could I shove into Millum? What changes could I possibly make? Because with the other deck profile that I have on the channel of the Millum deck, with the based off of the level 3 Drago Buster Millum, was before Volume 3 dropped. I've been meaning to update it, mostly because I did like the Benimarus from the Volume 3 set, but I wasn't certain on what exact changes to make. And then today I got to thinking, fuck it, we're gonna have some fun. So this deck has not been tested. I'm gonna go ahead and preface this now. I have not tested this deck out at all. I literally just finished making this. This is a concept. This is an idea because I need to find people to test play this against at some point and fix a lot of the ratios, because I'm gonna have a lot of 2-ofs in the deck. But I wanted to go ahead and record something because reasons. Let's have fun. Let's get right into it. Battle Hungry Shion's a 3/2 10,500. When this card attacks, you can pay 2, you can pay 2 and pitch 2. Then if you do, you put all cards from your stock into your waiting room. So it is if you're having to pay the 2 stock anyway or whatever, it's kind of whatever. Because you're going to pay out the rest of your stock anyway, so the stock cost really doesn't matter. Imagine if you on attack use this. Oh, by the way, you burn for 4. If on attack, when you pay this and you only have 2 stock, you pay that 2 stock out, and then the part where it says you put all cards from your stock, even if it's 0, the effect will still go off. It's just an extra little caveat for some reason to burn for 4. Even though now we have Last Shot Xenon Soul Bad Guy that does pay 1, pitch 1 for essentially the same thing of burn 4. It's whatever. Then during the turn that this card is placed on the stage from your hand, up to 1 time per turn, when damage dealt by this card is cancelled, you may deal 1 damage to your opponents. So really good. I wanted to include yellow into the top end, mostly because the Benimaru combo requires red and yellow in your level, and there was some other very good level 0 yellows that I wanted to include in the deck anyway, that I was like, oh, this is just good for a standby deck in general. So I was like, you know what, fuck, we got yellow now, let's throw some of these level 3s in the top end. 1 copy of Dragonoid Millum, but I may bump this up to 2 depending on how ratios feel after test playing. Is a 3/2 9/5. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a Demon Continent character, you can burn your opponent for 1, always good. When your other Demon Continent attacks, this gains 1k, so if this attacks last, it'll have plus 2k, so good. And when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you can pay 3 stock to put that character into your opponent's clock. Clock shooting, always good. I kind of had this as a supplemental finisher if I couldn't get enough of the Drago Busters off. The Drago Buster still requires a decent little amount of stock and everything. So I didn't want to fully capitalize on the Dragonoid Millum just yet, but either way. Let's go to Drago Buster. We have a 3/2 9k. If all of your characters are Demon Continent, this gains 2k power, so she's a constant 11k. She's a heal 1 on play, always good. And a climax combo with recently learned Restraint. When it gets played, it gives the Drago Buster Millum 2 abilities until end of turn. The 2 abilities don't really overlap. It's just kind of covering both bases, because one is for if you're able to actually try to reverse a battle opponent, and the other is if you direct attack, so that you're able to pull off something with the combo no matter whether there is a character in your opponent's lane or not. So when the battle opponent becomes reversed for the first effect, if you pay 2 stock, it lets you cast a Drago Buster event from your hand. It says as long as the level and color requirements are fulfilled, which, the entire deck has red, you're good. You do have to be level 3 to do that, though. So you're not able to pull off the Drago Buster event. You're not able to do it at level 2, sadly. But if you do, you can play it without paying the cost of the event, which we will look at the event next. This says the other effect, though, is if you direct attack, you can still pay 2 stock to burn 2, which is still very nice, and you have like 2 different forms of some kind of finisher. So the event that you're able to play, you can hard cast this, but it's very hefty. It basically, the Climax combo lets you cast it for a reduced cost. It's a level 3, 5 cost red event. If you have a character with Milim in its card name, your opponent reveals 7 cards from the top of their deck. Then they shuffle their deck. Then, however many Climax cards got revealed, they put X cards from the top of their deck into their clock. They just get placed there. It's the same type of damage as Clock Shoot, basically. It's damage that can't be prevented. So, when they reveal their 7 cards, if they show 3 Climaxes in those 7 cards, that's cool. They reshuffle their deck, and then they put the top 3 cards of their deck into their clock. And even if there's Climaxes amongst those, it doesn't matter. It doesn't count as quote-unquote damage, so it can't be canceled via that. So it's a very powerful thing if it's able to pop off. If it's not, it's whatever, but if you're able to pull off multiple Drago Busters, you don't fucking care. So it's really fun. It may not be the best finisher in the world, but I like it, and that's why I built the deck. So 4 copies of that, 4 copies of the event, 2 copies of Full of Smiles. Shuna is a 3/2/8/5. 4 more Demon Continent, it's -a level in hand. You get to heal 1 on play, and the turn she's played on stage from hand, as long as you have another Demon Continent character, which the whole deck is, this gets 2k power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So it's really cool there. So she stays at a 10/5, but we're going to be getting much bigger than 10/5 numbers in this deck. 2 copies of Leave It to Me, Milim. It's a 2/2/6/5. She gets 2k for each other Demon Continent character in your backstage, so she can be a 10/5. And when this card attacks, look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top of your deck or into your waiting room. Either or, doesn't matter. And I wanted to keep 2 copies of this instead of just going straight 4 copies of the Benimaru. But you can take these and like swap them accordingly, basically, depending on what you prefer. Here's where Violence Part 1 starts. Quiet Anger Shuna. 2/1/6k. All of your other Demon Continent characters get plus 1,000 power. If you have another Captive Wizard Muran, which is a level 0 Brainstormer, I feel like everybody knows what this card does. All of your other Demon Continent characters get the following ability that they can't be chosen by your opponent's card effects. So as long as you have this and the Brainstormer in play, the Brainstormer also gives a global 1,000 if you have the Shuna. So basically with this in play and the Brainstormer in back row, all of your characters get plus 2k. All of your Demon Continent, which they all are, get 2k and Hexproof, which is absolutely crazy, and I'm trying to set that up for like the finishing like stage for like, you know, being able to use like the Demon Continent or the Drago Buster or the off finishers or something. I just wanted to fuck around and see how this does. So I only put in 2 copies for right now, but we, like I said, just going to be testing stuff. So this is merely for discussion purposes. So 2 copies of a very large name here, very Chunibyo as well. Calamity, Destroying Black Flame, Benimaru. It definitely feels like, you know, Chunibyo stuff. It's a 2/1/55, but if all of your characters are Demon Continent, they are, this gets plus 4,500 power and Demon Continent character Encore. So it's basically a constant 10k with Encore. Really cool. When the standby Black Flame that illuminates darkness is placed on your Climax area, if this card is in your center stage, if your level has a yellow and a red card, choose one of the following effects and perform it. So you either get to pick a Demon Continent character and stand it. So you summon something off of the standby effect, and then you can use this ability to stand it. And you can put the top card of your stock into your waiting room, and if you do, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So basically a pay 1 to burn 1. So really cool there. Really just kind of depends on the situation, what you want to do with it. But also because you do have to have yellow in your level for the experience-based effect, I did need to put in extra, the entire deck beforehand was just red. I think maybe minus 1 or 2 cards. So I needed to put in enough yellow to make it viable. So plenty of yellow cards now. That's all that matters. So we will be adjusting ratios accordingly after test playing. 1 copy of the Victory Celebration Benimaru. It's a 3K backup with Memory Kick, so always good. There is another, I don't remember if it was a Benimaru or another one that was an anti-change backup, so you could replace that, either one. Getting to the level 1s, 3 copies of Black Lightning Rimuru. This might bump up to 4 depending on how stuff goes. It's a 1/155. It gets 500 power for each of your other Demon Continent characters. Can become a 75 with a full field, and it has character encore, so really cool. 1 copy of Capable Lady Shuna. It's a 2K backup, and when you use the backup, reveal the top card of your deck if it's a Demon Continent character, put it in your hand, and then discard 1 card. So the other level 1 is 3 copies of Summoning Call Benimaru. It's a 1/04K. With a full field, his first ability gives him 500 power for each other Demon Continent character, making him a 1/06K. But his main thing, which is just hilarious, when your other Demon Continent character is frontal attacked, you can discard 1 card and sack him to choose one of your characters in battle, and that character gets plus 3k power till end of turn. Just being able to manipulate some attack values during your opponent's turn like that is always fun. You could potentially just deny them some advantage by giving them massive buff. You could pitch extra climaxes in hand or standby targets, whichever. The reason you could go up to 4 with the Black Lightning is you could drop this Benimaru down to 2 copies instead of 3 and do like a 4-2 split instead, but I did 3-3 split just to have even numbers. So that is it for the 1s. We're getting to the level 0s. There's not going to be a lot of level 0s overall, but we do have a couple interesting little things here. First off, we have Pride of a Secretary Shion. The moment I saw this when I was doing the set review for it, I was like, oh, this is going in the Milim deck already. It's a 002K. When your Climax is placed on your Climax area, you can pay 1 stock. If you do, look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Demon Continent character, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. So just being able to pay out, cards from the stock that you need in the waiting room for like standby targets, milling more from the deck to get more standby targets, being able to craft your hand how you want, it's really good. I had another Rimuru that did the second effect, which is when your Climax is placed, you can bounce this Shion back to hand to give one of your characters 2k power. So I had a Rimuru that did that exact same effect, but this was just better in my mind, as opposed to the other one did like some top checking shenanigans. But we have top checking in here anyway with the Benimaru coming up, so 4 copies of the Shion. It just feels really good. 2 copies of a 3.14% Hope. You're hoping for Pi. 001K. When this is placed on stage from hand, you get to look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose an event amongst them, put it in your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. And if you do put a card into your hand, you have to discard a card. Perfectly fine. It's just extra milling for the most part, but if you happen to hit Drago Buster, you can go ahead and get that into your hand and get set up for your late game. Just really cool to run. It's very similar to, there's a level 0 Asuna from SAO that did something similar. And when your other Demon Continent character attacks, this gets plus 2k power till end of turn. Now, if you do have this on field for whatever reason at like later levels, you can gain plus 4k off of that, becoming a 005k, which is just kind of funny, but it's whatever. It might come up. Who knows? Might as well talk about it. 1 copy, which I'm doing a 1 split of each of these. Basically, one's a drop searcher, one's a drop salvager. The Radiant Smile Milim is the on play, pay 1, pitch 1 searcher deck for a Demon Continent. So I don't know which one I want to run more of. Technically with standby, you're going to be dealing with like summoning stuff back from the waiting room so much as it is. It doesn't feel like I would need the drop salvager as much as I would need the drop searcher, but that's just me. Granted, the Shuna Watching Over 002K, it has the drop salvage effect of on play, pay 1, pitch 1, add back a Demon Continent. You can give someone a buff. But she also has like a forced mill too, so I'm wondering if maybe the mill would also help. If you mill a level 0 character, she can side attack without getting soul penalty, which could come up, who knows. So I'm debating on which one I need to run more of, but we're gonna deal with that one day. 2 copies of Leader of the Delegation Benimaru. This was one I didn't think about. I don't know why I didn't include this. I can't remember if this was part of set 2 or set 3 or whatever. But I remember being told about the Climax Swapper, and I was like, you know what, this is definitely a good idea to have this in the deck. When this is placed on stage from your hand, look at the top card of your deck and put it on top or into your waiting room. And on play, you can pay 1, pitch a Climax to salvage back a Climax from your waiting room. So being able to pitch a copy of the Benimaru one to grab the Milim one, or vice versa, depending on the situation. Too good not to have, had to have 2 copies. This is the one that I remember being told about. I believe Joker told me about this one. Child on the Inside Milim, 001K. It's a level 0 or lower reverser. It's kind of whatever. But the biggest thing is this is another one of those, you show your opponent that you have this. It's fucking hilarious. When this is placed on stage from hand, you can pay 3 stock. If you do, put all of your opponent's stock into your opponent's waiting room, and your opponent puts the same number of cards from the top of their deck into their stock. So it is the Buns for Luck event, basically, on a level 0 character, which is really cool. Typically, I know people like to run the level 3s that do the same type of effect, but it's very nice to have this on a level 0. You can pay out, extra climaxes or anything that's like stuck in your stock. At first, when I first saw this, I was not on board with this. I will completely and totally admit, I think Joker told me about this, and I was like, but why would I want to pay that much stock? And I was like, no, it's the threat. You show your opponent that you have this, and they're going to go, shit, I can't just generate, 500 clean stock. So, exaggeration, you can't have 500 stock. Someone in the comment section is going to be like, bet. And then lastly, we do have Captive Wizard Muron. It gives the global 1000 if you have the level 2 Shuna, but it is also a Brainstorm. I was running a different Milim Brainstormer, but obviously, if I'm going to choose Violence, we have to use this. Pay 1, tap self, mill 4. For each climax, you get to search your deck for a Demon Continent character. So, and that is going to be it for the deck. We already talked about the Drago Busters. 4 copies of Recently Learned Restraint for Milim, and 4 copies of Black Flame that illuminates the darkness for the Benimaru level 2. And like I said, this is just a preliminary build. I already have one version of this that I know was very fun, and I was able to make it work. But this is solely testing. It's probably shoving too much stuff into it at one point with trying to have the Shuna hexproof stuff, but that's whatever. I even considered doing Drago Buster with the level 2 Muron and make it a Pants standby, which people have done Pants standby already, but I wanted to do my own spin on it using this, which I will show on screen right now. From the boxes that I pulled, I have 2 copies of the level 2 Muron, and I would love to get the level 0 Shuna now that it's dropped a little bit in price, but they're still anywhere from like $5 to $6 a piece, depending on where you look. So I maybe a little bit before I try those in the build, but obviously I want to have the cards on my person, to be able to try for the effects. I wouldn't be running Dragonoid Milim because it's fucking expensive if I didn't already have like 3 copies of it. I picked it up before it shot up in price, so this wouldn't even be in the deck if it weren't for the fact that I picked them up before they shot up in price. So it's the other cards that I got to worry about price-wise right now, and I'm going to eventually refine this deck, make another video, and try to showcase something a bit more concise, whether I end up trying a different build overall, or we try to stick with the 8 standby build. It's kind of whatever. It's up in the air. But yeah, I just wanted to show this off today. Hell, get y'all's opinions on it. Did I choose enough violence, or do we need more? Comment violence down below so I know that you watched this far. And it is greatly appreciated. Like and subscribe if you want. If not, hey, thanks for stopping by to check out the deck, and we'll see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.
Alright, cool.
Also, it's really funny when you talk the PNG moves.
Why is the PNG... Oh, whatever. I didn't realize I interrupted during recording. Go record. Go fucking finish.
You're good. It's just funny.
But, alright, man. I'll talk to you later.
I wonder if I should include this in the deck profile.
That's up to you.
I don't know. Alright, later.